In our previous segment, you mentioned that one of the biggest concerns was that there is a lot of ambiguity, or there are a lot of terms that are left undefined. The language is very broad, and I've looked at it. Why has the language been left so broad, so that it could even include personal self-produced content? Why do you think it was left like that?
I think it's been left that broad because they don't want to have to amend it in the future. I don't think I think they're sincere about saying their intention is not to regulate our social media posts, but still they're giving the CRTC the power to do that inside the legislation. So they're paving the way for future interventions into those areas, which is a big mistake, I think, in terms of that. They may naively think, well, that's okay for now, but in the future, somebody will show up to them in front of the CRTC and say, hey, that authority you have there, I want you to exercise it because it will make my life better. And the CRTC will, if there's a good argument, they'll say yes, and away you'll go. And there's no democratic thing in there in terms of that. People do get to participate in public processes, but I mean, how many people are, have tagged the crtc.gc.ca for their daily updates of news and what they need to intervene in and how to intervene and that sort of stuff.
Maybe after watching this show, more people will. But you again, it was a very good point that there's so much left unsaid. But I recall with the previous iteration, I believe, which was C-10, the government did receive ample feedback from consumers, from citizens. And then, of course, the election killed that last bill because legislation dies once there's an election call. Why didn't the government hear? There was a lot of complaint. Why hasn't the government incorporated some of those suggestions or assuage those concerns?
Well, they did try to, having denied in the C-10 debate that there were any concerns about freedom of speech, they did try to address them in this one, but they kind of said, no, we won't in one paragraph, and then said, yes, we can in another. So I'm not sure we got anywhere. I think we got somewhere with the idea that people's speech itself would be suppressed.
Right.
Their expression, though, is still compromised. And, being able to listen freely is as important as being able to speak freely sometimes too, right? So having somebody control what you can listen to is necessarily still an invasion in your ability to communicate freely.
Okay, so what kind of content will be regulated? And again, I appreciate it's vague, but we've heard concerns that YouTube is going to be regulated or TikTok. The government at various times has said that this content will or will not be regulated. Do you have any insights as to what you can predict will be?
Well, audio and video is what they're focusing on. They've left out the written word. So audio and video for commercial purpose. How big a commercial purpose that is again left undefined, but it's up to the CRTC. Could be that you make, $500 a week. Could be you make $1,000 a month. Could be $100 million a year, right? Wherever they're going to draw the line. So they'll have to go through a process and decide that. But definitely YouTube. Definitely, I would think TikTok. Any of the big ones, Disney Plus, Netflix. All of those. Netflix. That's one of the weird things about it is that they define Netflix as broadcasting,
right?
And it's not. It's a video store, right? That's
and
what
it is. You know what? I was an early days Netflix subscriber where they used to send you DVDs. It was like the lazy video store person's mode of watching entertainment. I was that person.
Yeah, they did. They're not killing broadcasting, but they did kill video stores.
They did. I remember I used to get a DVD. People don't remember those days. I do. I was, stay-at-home mom raising young children, and I would get a DVD delivered every few days that I wanted one. It was great. Now, obviously, things have changed quite a bit. But so it's interesting you mentioned that. We're broadcast. We're a network. I don't equate ourselves with Netflix because that is not a broadcast platform.
Yeah, but if you're making money, if you're getting paid, if you have more than a certain number of employees, you're now going to be captured by C-11. And for all I know, the Broadcasting Act says the CRTC has to make sure that which it regulates is of good standard. So perhaps you'll be subject to the Canadian Broadcasting Standards Council codes as well, which is sort of voluntary, but kind of not.
Okay.
The penalties are basically public shaming, so it's not like it's all that bad, but it does put a kind of cloak over everything, right?
Okay, we're going to continue this discussion. We have to cut for commercial. We'll continue this discussion in just a few moments.